Dolezal tells all. She's breaking her silence about why she's living her life as a black woman. Then, Parks and Rec's in effect again?
Accounting nerd.
I'm a congressman, Tom. Can you at least call me Ben?
No can-do accounting nerd. We all knew you before you were a big shot.
Aziz Ansari tells you who's headed back to TV with him and showing you how to avoid some epic fails of online dating. And the biggest blast on primetime is about to launch. Joanna Garcia Swisher's taking you aboard the Astronaut Wives Club.
Gus is going up next. I'm gonna be the second lady of space.
And the Donald could be minutes away from announcing he's running for president. But will it knock the only female Republican out of the race? We'll ask her in Hot Topics. This is The View with Whoopi, Nicole Wallace, Rosie Perez, Raven Simone, and today Michelle Collins hits the co-host chair. It all starts now.
Welcome to The View, y'all. Welcome to The View. So, you guys were out last night. Where were you? Where were you?
We were at the Trevor Project.
Explain, please.
The Trevor Project is a wonderful organization that provides a suicide prevention, I wouldn't say hotline, but I would say more of a community for the LGBT community.
Including telephone, text messaging, and any other way socially that you can get involved to get someone on the line to help you in your need of suicidal thoughts and things of that nature. And over 50,000 people, 13 to 24, are, you know, having problems with these thoughts, and a lot of them, you know, cater to the LGBTQ community. So
it was such a fun event, and I just also want to say that Rosie Perez got up on stage. They both presented, but Rosie got up, killed. I mean, the room was on the floor dying laughing. It was like HBO special level. Really, everybody.
Yeah.
she was funny as all get out.
Our girl.
I see the girls were put away for the evening.
Yeah. They had a little peekaboo.
I saw a little
thing
peekaboo
going
there.
on, but yeah, they had. I was trying to be, you know, demure.
Right. Well, you look good. We don't know where that came from, but thank you. Say, Jeb Bush officially threw his hat into the presidential ring. We knew he would, but in a speech where he directly addressed the Latin American community. Take a look.
As a candidate, I intend to let everyone hear my message, including the many who can express their love of country in a different language. Ayúdenos en tener una campaña que les da la bienvenida. Trabajen con nosotros por los valores que compartimos y para un gran futuro que es nuestro para construir para nosotros y nuestros hijos. Júntense.
I found it more attractive when he was doing that. I was like, damn,
I
Jeb.
said this morning. So in English, he's maybe not, he's sort of the boring Bush. In Spanish, he's hot. In Spanish, he goes straight to the top, right?
He really did. I agree.
He's like Javier Bardem, Jeb Bush. I think the whole campaign should be conducted in Espanol, and he will win all of you and all of us.
In what?
In Espanol.
Okay.
I don't know. What was he saying?
You compare Jeb Bush to Javier Bardem.
Hotness, the voice,
Javier, we're sorry.
No Country for Immigrant Men. What would the name of that movie be? Let me think about it. I'm just thinking.
Well, that was a big thing because the protesters were out.
I'm glad you raised that. So there was a protest there. And let me tell you something. If you become president, you've got to be prepared for protesters. They're everywhere. And I love that he welcomed them. He didn't stop and say, oh, get them out of here. He addressed them. He said, when I'm president, I'm going to do something about immigration reform. So I love that even a moment that wasn't scripted, even, you know, lots of planning goes into these announcements.
Yes.
Are you coming over? Because you're coming over to my side of the aisle. We'll
Yeah. That's what you say now. That's what you say now. You know, but Jeb, where are you on weed? I need to talk to you about a lot of stuff. You know? And just to be clear, I'm talking strictly medicinal because that's what I have to do. So that's what I want to know, Jeb. Where are you at?
You want to know
well,
that
I want to know that from everybody because, you know, and we'll actually talk about this right now because a mobile phone company set up, oh, no, this is totally different, my bad. The Colorado Supreme, you can put the Colorado in, thank you. The Colorado Supreme Court has upheld the decision of Dish TV to fire a quadriplegic employee who used medical marijuana to treat his seizures at home after work. Okay, after work. So marijuana is legal in Colorado, and he only used it when he got home from work. But the court still said he violated Dish TV's zero-tolerance drug policy.
It's crazy. I feel like 90% of the people watching Dish TV are high already. Like of all the companies, it's like Domino's firing somebody for it, you know?
Here's my thing about it, okay? Did he know that his company has a zero policy?
He wasn't high at work. He wasn't getting high at work.
Yes, but if you have a zero policy, you know that maybe your work is going to drug test you. I mean, there's many...
Yeah, but he has seizures.
He should smoke.
He needs to smoke.
But along next to his weed, he should also have the cleansing thing so that you know when you're about to get the drug test, you cleanse that out real quick. If you know, I'm just
I mean,
What's sad to me is that if he was at home and he took, let's say, Oxycontin or any legal opiate, he would not be in this position. He would have not been fired. And opiates right now is a very, very, very dangerous drug in our nation, and it's killing many. And I've yet to see how many people have died from being high on marijuana. And I just think that it's a serious issue to be addressed, and I feel bad for this man. I really do.
Imagine like the bad luck. He has quadriplegic. He can't even smoke a little weed for God's sake.
But I think that this is where, you know, the common sense is missing, because this is an obvious medicinal case. This is someone who there were no other job performance questions about this guy. And this is where, you know, we talked about this when we had the medicinal kit, the kids that would have benefited from medicinal marijuana here. You know, the laws just have to catch up to some of these circumstances.
It's actually not even the laws. It's what needs to happen is they need to change marijuana, and I'm going to say it every time I get an opportunity. You need to take it out of being a Schedule I drug because that's not what it is. It is not a Schedule I drug, okay? It's not a Schedule I. And for all of those folks who are sitting there and saying, well, it's a gateway drug. Well, if you have a predilection for addiction, anything that you do in excess is going to addict you. That's alcohol, that's cigarettes. If you have an addictive personality, chances are you become addicted. You guys need to just tell the truth. If you tell the truth, we can move it from Schedule I to where it should be, and this won't be an issue. But, you know, common sense is clearly Dish. Come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? Zero tolerance for people high at work. If the guy needs it at home, what the hell, man? Come on, Dish. It's ridiculous. How about this? Speaking of mobile companies, a mobile phone company set up texting lanes on city sidewalks, which were specifically painted so people could text while they were walking. It was part of a PR stunt. But strangely, some people hope these become permanent. Seriously?
I'd walk in that lane.
You would be in the lane?
I'd be in the lane.
Isn't it called a bench? Like, just sit. Like, why do you have to walk?
I have somewhere to go. I have somewhere to go, and I'm actually getting the directions, and my Google Maps is telling me where to go. And also, I don't think it should be painted. It should be like railings up, like when you can't bowl correctly. So that you're like this, ping-ponging down the
The only problem with that is if you're in a wheelchair, it's an issue.
Yeah. Well, there needs to be
If you're in a wheelchair in the lane, if you have rails
I mean, if you
up,
guys
it's
have
hard
your way,
to
there's
get
going to be no more places for
texting
cars.
or reeling. That's awesome.
No.
Unless you hit somebody. You know, listen, all I want y'all to do, you can text wherever you want it, whatever you want it. Don't hit me when you're walking.
Or don't get hit.
Or don't get hit.
Well, you know, there's too many of you. If everybody's looking down and I'm not, I can only dodge you so much, but why should I have to work so hard? Why can't y'all share the burden?
And this is why text is going to your phone now, so I'm like this.
Right, but this is, I mean, listen, Dick Tracy is dead. Okay? Dick Tracy is dead. This don't work either, because here you go, boom, into the manhole. It's just,
They deserved it, though. I feel like they deserve to volunteer. I want a lane for everyone. I want a lane for women in wedge shoes, walking like a newborn horse. Give them a lane. I mean, there are so many people blocking the roads with their idiocy. Let's give everybody their own lane.
People hate women with strollers. I always feel like when I've got the big stroller, people are sneering.
Yeah, I do. Because I've been hit twice, and I could not scream at the woman because the damn babies were in the thing. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
A terrifying reality. The married at first sight husband allegedly caught on video making shocking threats towards his bride. Next.
Congratulate a friend of ours. Who?
Empire star Terrence Howard.
Yes.
He just had his baby with his wife Miranda and the birth of their 4th child. Ah! I'm so happy for you. She was the cutest pregnant girl. The most amazing pregnant woman.
Great. All
So
pregnant women are cute.
You're right.
You know, everybody looks good pregnant.
Well.
And then you got to deal with everything that's hanging after you're done. And you know, yesterday we were talking about Rachel Dolezal yesterday, and then she broke her silence about why she's been living as a black woman. And folks are just, the comments just keep on coming. I mean, Dave Chappelle
weighed in. First, he made a joke. He said basically there was no reason for her to pass as black. She could have accomplished everything as white. What I said yesterday, he goes, but she just needed the braids. No, it's terrible. But more importantly, I think what he said was very, very, very potent. He said, I don't know what her agenda is, but there's an emotional context for black people when they see her and white people when they see her. There's a lot of feelings that are going to come out behind what's happening with this lady, and we have to remember she's just a person, no matter how we feel about her.
Dave Chappelle, love him, you know.
Do you really think that it would have been okay if she was a white woman head of the NAACP? There would have been any backlash from the black community? Oh my goodness, why does this, you know how
because anybody who does their history, who knows the history of the NAACP, knows that it was formed by black folks and white folks and Jewish folks and women. There's a lot of things that went into making the NAACP. So there's nothing saying you got to be black to be the head of the NAACP. That's what we've put on it. These are things that we have piled on.
Yeah, and at this point, I think it would have been better to be who you are, to be honest about who you are, than to act like a fake black person. I mean, I think that
she believes she's black.
But I mean, technically, she is straight up orange, first of all. By the way, what self-tanner is she using? Am I right? She looks very, very good.
She's using the same one everyone else uses.
She's her
People get, I'm sorry, people tan all the time. Years ago, what was that?
Year-round?
Yeah, people tan year. Are you kidding?
Tan.
What are the tanning? But you know they tan year-round.
I am the same color as my baby's butt from September until May.
Really?
Yes, really.
Have you tanned this year, Miss
I go
Wallace?
outside. Listen. I have never put on self-tanning. I did not go to I thought about it before I put on a bikini, but that's about my mother's flab. That's a different story altogether. I did think about getting a spray tan, but I wasn't going to pass myself off as a fake black person.
Well,
you would never pass. It would never work.
Well, that's, you know, as I said yesterday.
Right?
No, I don't know if it's different. I don't know. This girl feels that she believes she's black, and you know, I have to believe she feels the way she feels, just like Caitlyn Jenner feels like she's a woman.
Caitlyn Jenner never lied. Pretended to be a woman to get into barn art.
Yes, I'm sorry.
She pretended to be black to get into college. I'm so sorry. I'm just saying.
Yes, you can say that. I'm telling you what I think.
I get it.
That's how I feel. I don't feel she's doing anything that anyone else hasn't done. If someone feels that they're this, they have every right to pursue it. And she's been doing this for 5 or 6 years. I find it shocking that nobody knew this.
But he's been D.L. Hughley said that basically what you're saying. He said on his show yesterday that he doesn't understand why people are not allowing her to feel the way she wants to feel. And, you know, I think it's what you're saying, it's the lie. But he was also saying there's bigger issues to be worried about. But he also, the funniest thing he said yesterday was, he goes, she set a new benchmark for all black folks who want to go work for the NAACP because she has accomplished so much.
Yes, she has.
She really has accomplished so much. And I just think it's so sad that she had... I just thought that if she felt like she was really a black person, she should have just stated that from the get-go. And the NAACP would have welcomed her anyway.
But that's also, it's the same thing dealing with transgender. She said she's felt black since she was 5 years old. We've had to have these conversations with transgender and other socially, identity social unbalances in the brain, issues, thank you. We have to talk about them to get them out because this type of social issue is not really talked about a lot. Forgive me in my words, you guys, but you know what I'm saying. This is this is not normal. So we have to get it out.
Not normal.
It's not normal, but so was other things that are, we have to walk through and talk
you know,
through.
I'm sorry, I just think, look, I'm okay. What she has been living as a black woman, and as I said yesterday, if you have the balls to go out and do that, because it's not the easiest road. It's just not the easiest road. And she's been living like this for a long time. And again, none of the black people said, hey, you look a little different. Nobody said that because we're used to seeing people your complexion, people your complexion, and people my complexion. So she said she was black. Everybody said, okay. You know? Anyway, I am black. We will be right back. I'm sorry, right back. So, Republican candidate Carly Fiorina wants to be America's first female president, and she joined us here in Hot Topics right now. Please welcome author of Rising to the Challenge, Carly Fiorina. Hey, So you were part of our Hot Topics last week because supposedly you said if elected, you want to run your administration like American Idol. What does that mean exactly?
I actually didn't say that. What I said was that I would use the same technology that is used all the time when Americans vote for shows like The Voice or American Idol. I'd ask the American people questions, you know. Do you think it's okay that we have no idea where our money is being spent in the federal government? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no.
See, I was hoping you'd make Ryan Seacrest your attorney general. I was like, vote for him. Done. Got my vote.
Well, there you go. By the way, I have to say, I just am so thrilled to be on here. I've been a Whoopi groupie for like 20 years. So I feel starstruck. I really do.
I have a question, Carly. So to my knowledge, you've never held elective office.
That's right.
Or cabinet post or have been in the military.
That's right.
How come you're the best person for the job?
You know, ours was intended to be a citizen government. I think we've sort of gotten used to this idea that only a professional politician can run for office. Why? 80% of the American people now think we have a professional political class that's more focused on its power, privilege, and position than doing the work. I understand how the economy works. I understand how the world works. I understand how bureaucracies work, which is what our government's become. I understand technology, which is kind of important now. And I understand leadership. And I think this election's going to be about leadership.
You know, speaking of leadership, you said that you've met more world leaders than any other candidate except for Hillary Clinton. And what did you mean by that? And what did those meetings entail that you think would help you as becoming president of the free world?
Well, the statement is true. I've sat and talked with Vladimir Putin for about 45 minutes, about this close. So when you look someone in the eyes and you have a substantive conversation with him, we were talking about world trade, you kind of get to know a little bit about someone. And having spent that time with him, it's pretty easy to see that he won't be dissuaded, his ambition won't be dissuaded by a gimmicky red reset button. Or I've sat very close to Bibi Netanyahu in private meetings in his office when he talked to me about the dangers that Iran represents, or I've had conversations with King Abdullah of Jordan about education policy, or the Qataris about education policy, or the Chinese leadership. So when you've been in and around the world and talked with world leaders about business or policy or current affairs, I think it's helpful.
You know, it's funny that you say that because you know, your response is very impressive, you know, and full disclosure, I'm not a Republican.
I'm shocked.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, she's working on it. It's not going to work, but yes. You know, and Hillary, she was, you know, she represented our country, you know, when she worked for the Obama administration, you know, abroad. And, you know, but the thing that I would love to see you stand up against your opponents in the Republican field. And I'm very upset that certain TV stations, Fox,
and CNN
are going by the polling system. Who has the highest numbers will be able to get the first shot. And if Donald Trump enters the race, he says he's going to announce it in a few minutes.
I think he
just
just did.
Just did?
I think he just did.
You know, that might mean that you're knocked out. And I just think that's so unfair because Bill Clinton, when he first started out, he would have been knocked out. Yeah. Ronald Reagan, when he first started out, he would have been knocked out as well. And how do you feel about that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're absolutely right that those people who ultimately became president would have been knocked out. I'm focused on trying to make it to the debates, so we'll see. But I think, as you can see from the headlines, all those networks are getting a lot of pressure now. So let's see what they do. But I am focused on trying to meet the goal. You know, I started out as a secretary in a little 9-person real estate firm, and I'm kind of used to being underestimated. So I'm sort of assuming I might make it to those first debates.
I think you will. I think you will. Carly, I want to talk to you about being a woman in the Republican Party, because I think there's an impression that there are 6 of us and we all talk, and that's not the case. Republicans are half the country, and there are a lot of really smart Republican women. I thought your run for the Senate was one of the best in the country during the cycle, and I think your run so far in the Republican primary is grabbing tons of headlines, but nothing you say makes more headlines than when you go after Hillary in a way that is deeply satisfying to the base of our party. But I wonder if you ever worry that, you know, I watch your avails, I watch the whole thing on C-SPAN. You have the most articulate defense of capitalism. You have the most specific economic message. You've met with all these world leaders, but the media is so obsessed with seeing a Republican woman take on Hillary. How do you balance that?
Well, I think, first of all, that Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee of the Democrat Party. And so if you're going to be running for president, you have to contrast yourself, in this case me, with Hillary Clinton. I'm not doing that because I'm a woman or because she's a woman. I'm doing it because this is a race for the most important leadership position in the world, and I think it's relevant that she has neither been transparent nor does she have a track record of leadership. But to your point, I talk about all kinds of things. I've probably answered 500 on-the-record questions or more since I launched for the presidency. I talk about all kinds of things, and yet somehow that's what the media picks up on. I don't know, you guys know the media probably better than I do.
But quickly, and you're having a lot of success, so you don't have any plans to change course, right? I mean, you are, I think, the sharpest, and you're getting the most attention out of the whole field for your attacks and critiques.
I think elections are about contrast, and I think that we really are at a pivotal point in our nation where we have to decide what policies will help lift everyone up. Look, I'm a conservative because I know no one of us is any better than any other one of us. Every one of us has God-given gifts. Every one of us has the capacity to live lives of dignity, purpose, and meaning. And I think our principles work better to lift everybody up.
I want to ask you, by the way, afterwards about your meeting with Putin, because I have a lot of questions about sitting so close to him. But you just gave a speech about feminism. You said feminism has evolved into a left-leaning political mindset where women are pitted against men and used as weapons to win elections, which is actually going to your Hillary point. Why do you feel this way, specifically?
Well, look, I believe that a feminist is any woman who lives the life she chooses. I make no value judgments on the kind of life a woman lives as long as she chooses her life and somebody isn't choosing it for her or she's being denied something because of her gender. But I do think that when women stand up, for example, and call my candidacy offensive to women, that's about ideology. You know, it's about the fact that they don't agree with me.
Well, Whoopi and I were talking about this yesterday.
Because it's one of those, I mean, the first I have really?
No, not really.
I'm sorry, I gotta ask this question. The first part of it is, you're running. I assume you are a person who is very sort of pro-life and believes in that. So are you going to run as a person who's going to govern for everyone, or are you running on your Christian beliefs? Because you said some wonderful things, and it made me ask the question, if you feel that women should have the choices, why do you think choice is not a good thing?
Well, look, I think that abortion is obviously a very delicate subject. I happen to believe that science is proving us right. I mean, the zygote the DNA in a zygote is the same as the DNA the day you die. But I understand, respect, we don't all agree. We do have common ground on this issue now. The majority of women, the majority of young people, the majority of Americans now think that late-term abortion for any reason at all is a problem. So what I say is, let's go find that common ground.
I don't think that's actually...
I think if you read the polls, you would see that.
Well,
let's talk on Facebook.
Let's go and find common
figure it
ground.
out later.
Will you add me on Facebook, Carly?
There you go.
Our thanks to Carly Fiorina. Members of our audience are going home with a copy of Rising to the Challenge. And we'll be right back with Aziz Ansari. Busy man since he left Parks and Rec and said goodbye. And he's been on a mission to find out about dating and love in the 21st century. And he tells you what he's learned in his new book, Modern Romance. Please welcome Aziz Ansari.
How are you guys?
I'm good. Welcome back, honey.
Thanks for having me again.
Wow.
Always. Your style is always awesome.
Thank you, Raven. I love your style as well.
I like it.
So, Aziz, the book is like an academic look at romance in the age of the internet.
Yeah.
What's happening? Were you having a little bit of trouble? What's going on, baby?
Well, I think when I started writing the book, I was single, and I was kind of going through the same nonsense everyone goes through. You know, you meet someone, you like them, you text them, you don't hear anything back, and then you look on Instagram, and they're like posting a photo of a pizza, and you're like, wait, what's going on? Like, you're supposed to write me back. And I realized, you know, these seem like very personal dilemmas, but everyone has them. Everyone's staring at these same screens, going through the same frustrations, and we're all kind of in it together. So I thought it'd be cool to write this book, and I did it with a sociologist, and we did like a year and a half, like legit, like sociological study, but it's written in my voice, so it's very funny as well.
And you read it.
Huh?
On Audible, you were reading it.
I did an audiobook.
I know you did.
Yeah. So if you want to curl by the fire and have me read it to you.
Yes.
So how important is the first text in a relationship starter type of?
You know, what's interesting is now you kind of have two selves in a way. It's like you have your phone self and your real self. Like, so if you meet someone at a bar, like if you're a woman and you meet a guy at a bar, that first thing he sends you the next day, you may not remember your conversations and stuff. So that first text can kind of, you know...
jar your memory?
Yeah, and it shapes your perception of who the guy is in real life. And, like, most guys are just, like, writing just like, hey. So it's like, well, that doesn't really put together this beautiful portrait of a person. And so it was really interesting. We looked at women's, like, real phones and saw, like, the kind of stuff men were really texting them.
Did you get permission for that, or you just grabbed
we
the
did.
phone? Yeah.
We asked them beforehand. They agreed.
You got their lock code?
Yeah,
You're like, cool.
Yeah. I stole all these women's phones. And
Congrats.
But it was interesting to see what people were really sending them and what they really wanted to get sent, which seemed like very easy, but guys would never do it.
That's very true.
Yeah.
First of all, it's great to see you, because we go back stand-up-wise many years, Aziz, so it's always nice. This is a sweet guy.
Absolutely.
And I'm very excited for your book. You mentioned before you worked with a sociologist, which is very scientific sounding to me, and I'm already very impressed. But you said that along with the charts and the graphs in this book, you know, there's all kinds of like crazy stuff. How did you end up collecting the data? You stole phones. What else did you do?
I stole phones.
Yeah.
We interviewed hundreds of people all over the country and just talked to them about their real situations. We traveled over the world. We went to Japan. And
what are they like on Tinder in Japan?
You know what's interesting is, so I went to Japan thinking, like, they're so technologically savvy. It's going to be crazy. They're the people that like invented emojis, right? So it's going to be insane.
Right.
But you get there and like online dating hadn't really taken off, and I was like, well, what's the deal with online dating here? And they're like, well, here, like posting photos of yourself, in our culture, it's a little bit narcissistic, so people don't do that.
Used to be in our culture too. How funny is that?
I love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love Japan. Let me go to a cat cafe. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Not take
yes,
a selfie
yes.
and have a nice life, you know?
But yeah, so I asked them, well, if you don't post photos yourself, what do people post for their profile photos? And the women were like, yeah, guys will post a photo like their cat or their rice cooker.
Sounds
The rice cooker.
makes me nervous.
I feel like that's not really gonna.
It's important. The rice cooker is really important.
They're like, my rice is so moist, girl. You ain't ever gonna choke on that. That rice is moist. I would absolutely like that guy on Tinder, yeah. Well, that's awesome. The book is hilarious.
Thanks.
It's very funny.
Okay, so I mean, I loved you in Park and Recreation, and that wrapped a few months ago, right? But I hear that you have a new comedy series coming out or in the works. What's it about?
I'm shooting a show for Netflix. I haven't really like revealed the premise, but I'll tell you, Raven.
Should we leave? Even though you guys are really tight.
It's okay, you guys can hear it too.
You can text it to me later if you want.
So the premise is I can see into the future, which you think would make life a breeze. And it's called That's So Aziz. So.
I mean, that would be amazing. If I could be your ditzy best friend, I'm down for the cause.
Let's just reboot That's So Raven, and That's So Raven and Aziz as well.
I like that. Can I be your grandmother? Can I be everybody's grandmother?
Started. Gary Marsh knows.
Just,
okay, go ahead.
Just a dumb question. What's the median age of the people you talk to?
We tried to talk to people throughout a range. So, like, we went to, like, retirement homes and talked to men and women there. That was really interesting to kind of hear about how they met their spouses and what it was like for them. Like, it was really interesting. We talked to a lot of older women in these retirement homes, and they would talk about how, like, they were 20 years old and they were living with their parents and they didn't have the option to like go to college or start their career. So for them, like marriage was like a way to just get out of the house. And so I asked them, I was like, it sounds like you're not that into your husband. Like, did you kind of just get married and leave the house? And they're like, yeah, I did.
Oh, I remember those days, Aziz. Listen, you have to come back again and again and again. We just love you.
I always love stopping by, so I'm happy to do it.
Our thanks to Aziz Ansari. His new book, Modern Romance, is in stores now. And you guys are so lucky because members of this audience are getting a copy to take. We'll be right back with Joanna Garcia Swisher.
This high school stuff go. We're talking about your home here, not who should have been homecoming queen.
Me! I was wrong! Reba's daughter is all grown up and blasting back into the 60s on the new series, The Astronaut Wives Club. She stars as a wife and mom in the Mad Men era, whose husband is about to launch into history. Take a look.
Why is Dad calling so late?
I don't know, sweetie.
Something wrong?
Hey, hon. You okay? Gus is going up next. I'm gonna be the second lady of space.
Betty.
You have to tell me everything. Well, you don't have to. I read the article. It just seemed like the best day of your life.
It was, yes. The best.
Please welcome my friend and partner in crime, Joanna Garcia Swisher.
I'm so excited for you. Last time we saw each other,
we were arrested.
Yeah,
we were arrested.
We were actually working in a real prison in New Orleans.
Yes,
so
having
we served some hard time.
Okay, but let's talk about now and that your job is amazing. Please tell us about the wives of the astronauts. First Wives Club.
Yes, Astronauts Wives Club is the name of the show. It premieres on Thursday, 8 o'clock, ABC. It's about the wives of the first 7 astronauts that went to space. I play Betty Grissom, Gus Grissom's wife, and it's really just a story of sisterhood and friendship. And honestly, you know, we know this story. We know the story of how all these men went into space, but what's really our show is about the women. And there was a lot of expectations that were put on them, and they were expected to be model housewives, and under incredibly stressful circumstances. Their husbands were very far away, so there were many moments just single moms trying to do their best and hold it together. They were literally catapulted into instant stardom. I think you guys just saw a picture of them on the cover of Life magazine. They sold their life rights to Life magazine. They had no frame of reference for it. So it was just a really stressful, exciting, overwhelming moment. And it's a story of how these women came together and were supportive of each other.
Yeah. Well, speaking of coming together, you and Raven, a few years ago, sabotaged a wedding together on the ABC family movie Revenge of the Bridesmaids, and
we were the first ones. We were the first ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have a clip. Let's take a look.
Oh my
Look at me. I thought my yearbook photos sucked.
Turn. Turn? What if I don't want to turn? Who's gonna turn me? You? Why don't you turn this? Something you should know about me. I have a little problem with authority.
Turn.
In 2nd grade, I told our music teacher, Mrs. Florentine, that if she wanted us to sing like birds, she should get herself some freaking birds.
I laughed so hard I peed. And then we had to sit facing the corner during recess. We've been friends ever since.
Joanna, like I said, I've known you. I knew you before you were married. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
I heard you have a beautiful daughter.
I do. She's 2 and big and beautiful and oh yeah. That was a cat we rescued in New Orleans.
Oh. When this
I literally was doing Astronaut Wives. I was shooting there and I heard this cat meow, and I had my daughter with me. Thankfully, my parents were in town, and I was literally like under the underbelly of a truck, like rescuing. It ended up having like a broken femur, so my husband was super excited to get that vet bill. But you know,
she's amazing. You guys, please watch this show. I saw it. It's absolutely great.
you.
Costumes are fabulous. And our thanks to you for coming on the show.
And congratulations to you.
Thank
this
you.
is so exciting. She's
we got thank you, Joanna Garcia. Swisher, the Astronaut Wives Club premieres this Thursday. You guys have to see it tonight at 8 p.m. right here on ABC. We'll be right back.
You know, Michelle will be back tomorrow. We want to thank our audience, because without you guys, who knows where we'd be. Our #1 fan is in the audience. We want to tell y'all to have a great day and take a little time to enjoy whatever view you happen upon.